We have always trusted imperfection, a handwritten note, a crack in pottery, grain in film, as proof of human touch. But what happens when those flaws become desirable? The moment authenticity becomes a commodity, it must be manufactured. Now digital tools can replicate the signs of wear and inconsistency at scale. Instagram filters add JPEG noise to make photos feel raw. AI handwriting generators mimic ink smudges for personalized messages. Our desire for sincerity has been weaponized into a demand. As soon as a flaw is codified, it loses its meaning. The very qualities we romanticize, haphazard brushstrokes, uneven lettering, are now algorithmically optimized for mass consumption. This paradox reveals how deeply our trust is tied to visual and tactile cues that were once accidental byproducts of human limitation. Now, AI doesn't just replicate these flaws, it perfects them. The more convincing the imperfection becomes, the less meaningful authenticity itself grows. The commodification of authenticity is not just a design trend. It's an existential crisis for human identity. When every sign of trust can be faked, we are forced to either create new markers or surrender to simulation. Our cultural values become entangled in systems that reward artificiality while pretending to prize sincerity. This is how AI doesn't just imitate us. It spoofs the very mechanisms by which we judge each other. As machines learn to forge human flaws, a new battlefield emerged: detection versus deception. The more convincing AI became at mimicking cracks in a voice or a slightly off kilter gaze, the harder it was for our senses and our software to tell real from real. This is an arms race where authenticity itself is weaponized and faked with surgical precision. Each new tool to detect fakery only sharpens the next generation of countermeasures. Just as watermarking was once a fail-safe in art, so too are digital fingerprints, now under siege by AI that learns exactly which quirks make content feel human, and then adds them in. What this tells us is simple: trust has become programmable.
Early computer systems were mechanical in thought and electrical in execution. Machines like ENIAC and UNIVAC laid the groundwork for modern computing through vacuum tubes.
The spectrophotometer was a marvel of early precision. It measured color down to microscopic differences in textile production. But as we moved into digital, something strange happened. Our tools began pretending not to be perfect. We trained algorithms to generate grainy textures, hand-scrawled fonts, and camera shake effects, because we were no longer chasing accuracy. we were mimicking authenticity. It's a paradox of the information age. We rely on machines for truth, but demand they look human in their mistakes. Roland Barthes introduced the concept of punctum, that jarring detail in a photograph which pierces you. Today, algorithms simulate this effect deliberately to make content more compelling. It's no longer just about capturing reality. It's about curating emotional impact through calculated imperfection. We now have filters that mimic film, scratches, and software, that simulates human handwriting because we're sold the idea that flaws are somehow truer than perfection. Neil Postman warned of technopoly's tendency to replace human judgment with technical calculation. When imperfection becomes a feature, we're not preserving authenticity. We're outsourcing it to machines that program our flaws for us. We no longer rely on lived experience or subjective truth, but instead accept simulated imperfections as markers of legitimacy in a world where reality itself has become malleable and manufactured.
Then to check dye and fabric colors and check them accurately and scientifically, there's the spectrophotometer. This instrument can detect and record more than 2 million different colors.
If authenticity becomes a commodity, then everything can be authentic, and nothing truly is. What we once trusted as signs of humanity are now just lines in code, generated by algorithms trained to mimic the quirks of real people. We used to value the stuttered pause or the handwritten note for their unvarnished truth. Now, those same signs can be replicated at scale, not because they mean anything more than before, but because we've decided they do. The problem isn't just fakery, where the signs of humanity may only exist in code. And that is the true crisis, not just what we lose, but how we come to forget why it was valuable in the first place. When imperfection becomes a feature rather than a flaw, our trust in reality itself begins to erode. If all signals are authentic and none are real, then authenticity is no longer truth. It's just another algorithm waiting for confirmation.